Listen to that sound. That rhythmic, metallic wheeze is the only thing keeping a 6-year-old boy from suffocating. It's 1952, and the world outside is terrified. Paul Alexander was just a normal kid in Dallas, Texas, running through the mud until his neck started to ache. Then his legs went numb. Within days, he couldn't even hold a glass of water. The hospital was a war zone. Dozens of children lined up in hallways, gasping for air. The doctors told Paul's parents to prepare for the worst. There was no cure, only the machine. They slid him into a 700-pound steel cylinder. Only his head stuck out from a rubber collar. This was his new home, a yellow pressurized tank that forced air into his paralyzed lungs. Imagine the isolation. You can't scratch your nose. You can't wipe your eyes. You are a captive of physics. The machine creates a vacuum to pull your chest out, then pushes air back in, over and over, thousands of times a day. Days turned into months. Paul watched the children in the lungs next to him disappear. One day, they were there. The next, the machine was silent and empty. He realized he was in a race against time. But Paul wasn't just surviving. He was stubborn. He hated the way the doctors looked at him, like he was already a ghost. He decided right then that he wouldn't die in that war. A physical therapist named Mrs. Sullivan saw something in him. She made him a deal. If he could learn to breathe on his own for just 3 minutes, she would buy him a puppy. 3 minutes. For a boy who was 100% paralyzed from the neck down, that sounded like climbing Everest. He had to learn a technique called frog breathing. He would trap air in his mouth and throat, then swallow it down. It was exhausting. It felt like his chest was made of lead. But he did it. Gulp, swallow, gulp, swallow. He got that puppy. And he got something more. Freedom. He learned how to stay out of the machine for hours at a time, gulping air like a fish out of water. But he always had to return to the tank at night. As the years passed, the world moved on. Salk's vaccine ended the polio nightmare for others, but for Paul, the 1950s never ended. He grew into a man while encased in mid-century technology. He didn't just want to live, he wanted to achieve. He demanded to go to school. He memorized everything because he couldn't take notes. He graduated high school at the top of his class without ever writing a word. Then came the ultimate challenge, law school. People told him it was impossible. How could a man in a tank represent a client? Paul just looked at them and said, "Watch me." He went to the University of Texas. He lived in a dorm. He had helpers who would slide him into the lung at night and help him out in the morning. He was living on the edge of a knife every single day. One night, the power went out. The machine stopped. The hiss died. The room went silent. Paul couldn't breathe. He lay there in the dark, gulping for air, praying someone would hear him. His roommate burst in and used a manual hand pump to keep him alive until the generator kicked in. Death was always just one mechanical failure away. Despite the constant threat, Paul passed the bar exam. He became a trial lawyer. Can you imagine being a witness and seeing a man in a specialized wheelchair, breathing with his whole body, cross-examining you? He won cases. He built a life. But as he aged, the effort of frog breathing became too much. He had to spend more and more time inside the yellow cylinder. The world was changing, but his machine was becoming a relic. By the 1990s, parts for the iron lung didn't exist anymore. The companies that made them had long since closed. If a seal broke or a motor burned out, Paul would die. He was literally living in a museum piece. In 2015, the machine started to fail. The air was leaking. Paul put out a desperate plea on social media. A local mechanic named Brady stepped up. He had never seen an iron lung, but he knew how to fix things. Brady spent weeks machining custom parts by hand. He treated the lung like a vintage car. When he finally turned it back on, the seal held. Paul could breathe again. Paul didn't just sit there. He wrote his autobiography. How? By using a plastic stick attached to a pen, held in his mouth, tapping away at a keyboard for 8 years. He titled it 3 Minutes for a Dog, a tribute to the moment he decided to fight. He became an inspiration to millions, showing that the mind has no limits, even if the body is in a cage. Think about the sheer will. For over 70 years, Paul lived in a space no bigger than a bathtub. He saw the moon landing, the rise of the internet, and the turn of the millennium, all from that mirror above his head. He outlived his parents. He outlived his brother. He even outlived the doctors who said he wouldn't last a week. He was the last of the iron lung generation. People asked him if he was angry at the world. He said no. He said the iron lung was his friend. It gave him the life he had. It was a partnership of man and machine. But nature eventually caught up. In early 2024, Paul contracted another virus. This time, even the iron lung couldn't bridge the gap. The man who refused to stop breathing finally found rest. Paul Alexander died at the age of 78. He spent 72 of those years inside that tank. He didn't just survive. He conquered every barrier society put in front of him. His story isn't about a tragedy. It's about the power of the human spirit. It's a reminder that no matter how small your world becomes, your impact can be infinite. He showed us that a cage is only a cage if you let it be one. Paul Alexander was free the whole time. He just needed a little help from a yellow machine to stay. Next time you take a deep breath without thinking, remember Paul. Remember the man who had to fight for every single one. His legacy lives on in every person who hears his story and decides to keep going. Just keep breathing. One gulp at a time. The iron lung stands silent now, but the echo of Paul's laughter remains. A survivor who lived more in a tank than most people do in the open air. And that is the incredible story of the man in the iron lung. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of human resilience.